moving further, I hope we have discussed in the last class. What was our topics we have discussed? I hope everyone can mute and be passed. The reason because I'm doing a session as recording. Okay. So last class we have talked about actuators. In actuators and valves, solenoid valve we have discussed, relay we have discussed, motor. In motor, stepper motor we have discussed how it works, working principle. Though you have discussed, you have studied in your basic engineering, I mean the earlier semesters, but still we recapped how a magnet is going to rotate in a coil, around the coil. Okay. So then we have come across some motors and analog to digital converter. In analog to digital converter, we had R-string DAC. R-string DAC is nothing but you will have a series of resistors, I mean precision resistors connected, where they are, I mean it's kind of voltage divider circuit, multiplexed to a comparator to understand what is happening. Okay, digital input will be given to as a select lines, and the output will be taken from the say called voltage divider circuits. Okay, and it is given to the comparator. Finally, the comparator or the output of the this particular amplifier, I mean op amp, you get an output as analog output. Okay, amplified analog output. So next, we had studied about R to R DAC, R to R ladder DAC. So in R to R, we'll have a here one beauty is 2N resistors will be there. In R string, we'll have a 2 power N. Okay, if you need an 8-bit I mean DAC, then 2 power 8, so many resistors will be there in a circuit. So here 2N, 2 into 8, it will be maximum 16 resistors. So in the combination of R and 2R. Okay, so that's the advantage of R to R, digital to analog converter, ladder analog converter. So this is very interesting, and area wise it is very less consuming. So we use R to R ladder DAC in all our circuits. Okay, so moving to further. So let me have a today's session on IO controller. IO controller, an embedded processor need to access the input and output. Of course, say if you have a processor at this particular, I hope last class we have talked about it. Say you have some question, I just recap. Okay, no problem, Chandana. So assume. So this is your microprocessor, and you have an 8255 as an 8255 as an connector. Okay, and from here you will have an IO device. From here you will have an IO device. So 8255 acts as a bridge between the processor and the IO devices. Okay, so let me understand here what is a bridge in our processors. Okay, in our digital world, how it is going to be taken care. So there will be an IO controller circuit that connects the input output devices to the processor, includes control circuit also. It will have an control circuit also. Like in 8255, how you have a control word register and then a port A, port B, port C. Port A, port B, port C are your IO device interface, and control word register is your connecting, I mean controlling circuit. Okay. Input registers for reading, output registers for writing. IO ports registers access to embedded software. So we can access these IO ports through embedded software. What is this IO ports in the sense? Like port A, port B, port C. It is similar to port A, port B, port C. Okay. So we'll move further. So here we have something called processor. We don't take microprocessor here. We take it as GUMNet processor. There is a processor called GUMNet. It's a processor, and the IO simple IO controller, we take it as Wishbone controller. Wishbone controller. I hope most of the this is an on-chip bus one. So like off-chip or like a microprocessor, your microprocessor connected to an 8255 IC. Okay, so this is off chip. Off chip in the sense separately connected. Here these are connected internally. In the GUMNet processor, you will have wishbone signals, WB signals. Okay, so that's how you are going to connect it. Okay, wishbone signals. So what is wishbone? We'll see slowly one by one. Okay, what is wishbone and all. So presently you just understand simple IO controller. We connect through wishbone interface. Okay, to a GUMNet processor. And to understand what is GUMNet and all, presently, I mean, as per your syllabus point of view, GUMNet processor is not there, but still for your understanding point of view, we can refer chapter 7 in this, I mean, textbook 1. Okay, to understand what is GUMNet, you can refer chapter 7 in your textbook. Okay, so here for a wishbone interface, there will be signals called clock. Of course, any bus will have a clock and reset. These are the common inputs of any digital circuit. And here you will have something called port cycle 0, port stable out, port cycle 0. I mean, O means output, port stable output, and port read write output, and there will be port acknowledgement input, which will be an input to the circuit from the IO device. Okay, and port address, port data out, port data in. Okay, so these are the input signals which are available in a simple IO controller. Okay, so you can understand the circuit. So here, this is your GUMNet. This is your GUMNet processor. This is your GUMNet processor. GUMNet processor has these wishbone interface signals. Okay, and your keyboard controller or keypad controller. This is your IO device. This is your IO device. This is your controller. Okay, so here to understand the communication between the controller and the GUMNet processor, so we'll have output register for row driver. Okay, so we have to scan the row, right? I mean, which row key is high or something. So we'll do row scan. Okay, so to do row scan, that particular bit, again, it is connected to the IO device, and keypad column is connected to the IO device. Okay, so now here controller builds a bridge between the IO device and the my controller. Okay, or processor. It is a bridge. Controller is a bridge between IO controller is a bridge between processor and the IO device. IO device is your keypad. Okay, so here keypad is connected through controller. So here the keypad row is connected and the keypad column is connected. So here from keypad column you supply 5 volts, 5 volts, 5 volts, and through keypad row you scan which key is pressed. Okay, so now here the input, the usually the processor output will be an input to the controller, and same way the controller's output will be an input to the processor. Okay, I mean to say here the output is input to the controller, same way the output from the controller is an input to the processor. Okay, I just come back. There is some chat. What is GUMNet processor? Good question, Dikshit. It's kind of a microprocessor. It's similar to a microprocessor. As I told in chapter 7, you can understand what is GUMNet means. Detail, you can understand what is GUMNet means. Okay, you can refer textbook, this particular authored textbook. Okay, and you can understand. Okay, it's a processor. It's a microprocessor, similar. Okay, let me come back again to the IO. I mean, presently you just consider GUMNet as a processor. Okay, don't go deep into it, how it works, what is the architecture, what is it, is a RISC or any kind of one. Don't worry about it. Presently you just understand it's a processor. Okay. Sir, can you spell wishbone? Okay, wishbone. Yeah, sure. So wishbone, I just come back. There is a wishbone controller neat diagram also. I'll just show you. Okay, it is not here. Okay, I'll just spell it out. Wishbone. Okay, I hope H is not there. H is not there. Wishbone. Okay, simple. I'll send you the reference doc. What is wishbone, PPT, and all via WhatsApp, so you can understand what is all about it. Okay. Presently, you just understand how a keypad got interfaced. Okay, so that's the main motto of this particular slide. Okay, so don't worry about much deep into it. So here are simply understand there are some input signals. Okay, input signals are uh, like your these are your output signals and these are your input signals. So that way you just consider. So just consider this is your input signal. These are common input signal for any digital device, and these are your output and input signals for your circuit. Okay, only consider this. Okay, and this is a module name given. Okay, don't worry about much about it. Okay, so now presently you just understand here how this particular processor, microprocessor, got connected to an IO device via IO controller. Via IO controller. Okay. So here your outputs of your processor will become input to the controller, and same way outputs of your controller will become inputs to the processor. So like this. So this guy is connected as an input to the processor. Same way this guy's output is connected as an input to the key controller. Okay. So this is how here things are going to happen. Okay. So here simple, very simple to connect your processor to the keypad. You are using a keypad controller. What it is trying to do all? Let's take a laser. So here you can understand. So you can see here data in from the processor out it is being given. Okay, let me understand what key is pressed. So this guy gives an instruction to the controller, and this guy generates the same pattern in the columns, keypad column. It gives high impedance here. Okay, I mean sorry, not high impedance, a positive voltage here. So the columns are activated. The columns are activated. Once the columns are activated, assume a user presses a key 5. Assume user presses a key 2. Okay, 2 is pressed. The first row is scanned, and it feels there is a positive voltage at this particular row and that particular column, and it will be same way it is given by the data out to the controller. Or a microprocessor particular key is pressed, and it will be stored or taken for further processing. So this is what simple. Okay, simple keypad controller. So the output registers for row driver, input registers for column sensing. Okay. Moving next, so the same code has been written, Verilog code has been written here. You can understand module keypad controller. So you will have same way clock, cycle, stable, read write signal, acknowledgement. ACK means acknowledgement. Okay. STB means stable. Okay. Cycle, CYC means. Okay. And here DAT is nothing but data. In I represent input, underscore O represent output. Keypad row, keypad column are your input and output registers. Okay. So here you will have a reg column sync as a signal, and here always at passage of clock, a row register will capture the data in from the processor, and it will be given to the controller, okay, from the controller to the keypad. Okay, and always at passage of clock begin column synchronizer. So data out will be the column, which column is as a voltage, and similarly keypad controller input. Okay, so this is a simple Verilog code of a keypad controller here. Any questions? We'll have a question sessions at the end of the session. Moving to control word register, control word and status word register. Here, you will have control register contains bit that governs the operation of the IO device written by the processor. Okay. Status word register, register contains the bit that reflects the status of the device read by the processor. Okay, so here why we use this control word register and status word status register, in the sense control register to understand what operation is processor is trying to make from the IO device. Okay, written by the processor. Say either it is a input device or an output device, the control register makes the decision. In status register, control bits that reflects the status of the device read by the processor. So here, what is happening with the IO device? The status word register, or status register, is going to reflect to the processor. Say like I talk to you, and same way you respond to me. So that's why. So I talk to you with the specific name, you respond. So that is what control register. You respond is a status register. Okay. Either or both may needed in an input-output controller. This both may be required, or any one may be required in our input-output control register. Okay, in our IO device controller. So moving to next, so we'll have an same way ADC controller. Since we have read successive approximation control ADC, okay. So let's understand how a controller get interface with an ADC. Okay, how a ADC is connected to a processor. Okay, so here and how a controller is designed. Okay, successive approximation ADC, one analog input with sample and hold circuit and 4 analog reference voltage. There are 4 analog reference voltage. Okay, reference voltage mean it can be 5 volt, 3 volt, 10 volt, 15 volt kind of it. Okay, coming to control register, select reference voltage, hold input voltage, and start ADC. So these are the control registers which we have. Status register is nothing but done register. Okay, if it is done, the analog to digital value to be taken from the controller and given to the processor. Okay, input data registers are converted data. Okay, I mean which is taken from the ADC to the processor. Why? It has to be stored for further discussion. Say best example, assume my voice is being analog signal. Analog signal will be captured by my mic, and the same is captured and given back to the processor, and processor keeps pumping via VoIP. Okay, to the end user. End users are you people. Okay, so let me understand how the architecture. Later we'll have an FAQ on it. Okay, so presently we'll just have only the ADC controller point of view. We don't want to go in deep with how an interface of a processor and a controller and the ADC is working. Only the controller part we are thinking. Okay, controller as VIN is the analog input, say my voice, okay, where mic is capturing. And reference voltages are, it can be different reference voltages. It can be Vref0 to Vref3. Okay, Vref0 can be 3 volt, Vref1 can be 5 volt, Vref2 can be 10 volt, and Vref3 can be 15 volt. Why we need different reference voltage means to capture the input. The input can vary from 0 to 15 volt. Okay, during that case we will have different reference voltage. Okay, for our successive approximation register. So here port data in, okay, is nothing but the input from the processor given to the ADC controller. It is an input from the processor given to the, it is an input. I just take, it is an input given from the microprocessor, from the microprocessor. And same way, cycle in, stable, read write signal, all are the input from the same guy, that is microprocessor. Okay, and clock in, clock reset in are the input from for the digital circuits, commonly from oscillator you get it. Okay, port address I, this is an input again from the processor. This is an input again from the processor. Okay, so these are your controller inputs. These are the signals which are your controller input signals. I'll just recap. Controller input signals. Okay, these are your microprocessor, from the microprocessor given to the controller. Okay, here why we have done this particular thing is, we'll tell you. One second. So here cycle and strobe signals are the two signals which gives an I mean what cycle the things are happening, and strobe signal, what is happening, strobe is nothing but whether the things are initiated from the processor or not, we are going to do it. Okay, so here we are adding this and giving an input to an acknowledgement. Okay, acknowledgement output signal, acknowledgement output signal. Okay, so here you can see this is your D0, D0, D1, D2 and chip select. Okay, C is nothing but chip select. If you enable this guy, then only this whole thing is going to happen. Whole thing is going to happen. So here this is your SAR. This is your SAR activator. This is your SAR activator. So it will activate the start bit of your ADC. Okay, SAR activator. SAR activator. Okay, so if this guy works, then only the input is given to the ADC. ADC start doing the analog to digital conversion. Okay, so and here D0 and D1 are to select the reference voltage. This is your encoder 2:4 encoder, 2:4 encoder. Here based on the Q0 and Q1 input, particular reference voltage will be picked. Okay, so either V0 can be picked, V1 can be picked, or V2 can be picked, or V3 can be picked to the as a reference voltage to the ADC, as a reference to the voltage to the ADC. And the analog input is taken, Vin is taken through Vin bit. And here we have a capacitor. The reason of putting this capacitor is to store the values. Okay, to store the values. Why we want to store, in the sense the analog value may change. Okay, it keeps changing, so we store it in the capacitor. Okay, and once if the circuit is connected, the analog input Vin will store in the capacitor, and the same will be passed to the ADC, analog to digital converter. Whenever the processor tells to convert through this particular enable circuit, start is 1. If start is 1, start is equal to 1, Vin is there. Okay, reference voltage is selected through encoder. If that is happening, the ADC will start doing the conversion. If output is 1, I mean done bit is 1, then the output will be available at port data out. Port data out will give back to the processor. I repeat. So here the start bit is going to be 1 based on the input from the processor, inputs from the processor. How in the sense? So here this circuit is going to give the start bit 1. Okay, if start bit is 1, same way the input is given to the B in also connecting the circuit. I just erase and redo once again. Okay, so here, sorry. So here what happens, if the processor tells to start, the input will be connected to the ADC, and same way a start bit will be 1, start bit will be 1. I just redo once again better. I hope it will be confusing to you. So here, it is very interesting topic and confusing, I mean bit confusing topic. Be cautious, be attentive here. Okay, so processor gives the indication through this bit, okay, through these signals, through input signals. Once these input signals are stable, chip enable is active. CE is equal to 1. CE is equal to 1 means chip enable. Okay, chip enable is 1. If chip enable is 1, this particular guy is going to work. This guy is going to work. I mean, this particular circuit is going to work. If this circuit is working, Q3 will be 1, Q2 will be 1. If Q2 is 1, it tells to the start to bit, I mean ADC to start, and same way it tells to the V in to get connected to the ADC, V in to get connected to the ADC. Okay, so this particular closed circuit, I mean open circuit will be closed, will be closed. Okay, because of Q2 is equal to 1, because of Q2 is equal to 1. Okay, then the same way this Q0 and Q1 activates the encoder circuit. This is your encoder circuit. Okay, if 0 0, reference voltage will be, if 0 0, V ref is 0. If 0 1, reference 2, 1 0, reference 3, reference 2, 1 1, reference 3. Okay, so the reference voltage can vary from 3 to 15 voltage. Okay, we assuming V0 as 3 volt, V1 as 5 volt, V2 as 15 volt, and same way V2 as 10 volt and V3 as 15 volt. Okay, so here this encoder picks that particular corresponding reference voltage and will be given to the ADC. So ADC start doing the conversion, analog to digital converter, start doing the conversion of analog input, okay, analog input to the digital value, Once this particular done bit is 1, okay, the data out is given back to the processor. Data out is given back to the processor. Very simple circuit. So let me understand. So if done bit is 1, the data out is given to the processor. Analog to digital value, the analog input is taken. The ADC converts the analog value to digital. That same digital value is given back to the processor. Okay, so this is how the analog to digital converter controller is going to work. So here what we want to understand is Thank you all. This is Mahendra, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, Cambridge Institute of Technology. Thank you. Have a nice day. Safe stay.